Greetings all and welcome back to the channel. Now, full disclosure, this pen has been sent in for promotional purposes, so this won't be so much of a review today, but an overview. However, I have reviewed this pen a few times on the channel, so therefore, if you do want to go and check that out, you can go and have a look up there and have a look at some of the previous reviews I've done on this. But this is an overview of the 2024 limited edition of only 1,000. So you can see down there, 1,000 pieces, just about. So 1,000 pieces of this lovely olive and rose gold tinted Tango Imagination. Absolutely stunning pen. Right off the bat, you can see that we've got this lovely guilloche technique that, as I sort of move it in the light, it has a lovely interplay of light just sort of moving across the barrel and the cap. This is just a level of finish which you don't really typically see on a lot of pens in this sort of price range. So this is something which really does set Waldmann apart from a lot of manufacturers. Now, for 388 euros, £450 roughly after taxes, you are getting something which is a little bit different. Now, if this had come from any other named manufacturer like Montblanc, for example, a guilloche technique immediately is going to put this into the thousands. There's no arguing about that. So you are getting quite a lot of bang for your buck in terms of visual aesthetics. The nib, which comes on this particular unit, is a broad steel nib. Now, Waldmann do gold versions of this particular nib, but you know what? This steel nib is absolutely superb. I've never tried a Waldmann gold nib before, but suffice to say that this is really quite the piece de resistance. And so yeah, we have got a very gorgeous pen. If we do a little bit of a comparison, what we have here is a Pilot Custom 74. And they're roughly the same size, but you can tell that the Waldmann is ever so slightly slender. But at 39 grams, this pen is a joy to use. It's not too heavy. We can just take that off, set it to one side. In the hand, it just feels absolutely comfortable. Some people might be a little bit worried about that shiny metal grip section, but you know what? It's not that bad. I've used this pen for a couple of weeks now, and I've used previous Tango pens for quite some time, several years now, and I'd always find them very comfortable writers. Not too heavy, not too light. It just lets you know that you're writing on the page, and I really enjoy that. But without being too boring, I just really want to iterate and really concrete my statement on how gorgeous this barrel is. And as we sort of move it in the light, that lacquered finish with the engraving underneath, that guilloche technique, it really is quite magical. You can see that, going from this sort of vertical to horizontal sort of perspective, we do have this beautiful play of light just going down that barrel. It really is quite something. And I've said this before, but these sort of little engravings, they do remind me a little bit of the sort of the lights which you see in the elevators and Star Wars. I'm sure you probably know what I'm talking about. And yeah, just a little nerdy thing, but pen's very practical. We have got a cartridge converter in there. I've actually almost gone through an entire cartridge converter within a week, thanks to this very juicy broad nib. So yeah, it's a no frills, no spills filling mechanism. I love it for that. Sometimes some people overcomplicate things when all you really need is a good old cartridge or cartridge converter and you're good to go. Right, so I've waffled on a lot. Let's give this pen a little bit of a writing sample. So I'm just going to set this to one side. Okay, so let's get going with a very quick writing sample for this pen. I've not used a broad nib very much, and I don't know whether or not it really suits my handwriting, but let's give it a try. So we have the Waldmann Tango Imagination. And in my sort of week or two of testing this pen, I've really noticed how juicy this nib is. It's not quite a fire hose, but on certain papers you can really see that pooling. And it does show off the quality of the ink just absolutely wonderfully. Right, let's just get out the nib designation. So we've got a broad steel, and it is just, yeah, this is really quite lovely. Now they do a nice gold nib, but I don't know if you really need it, to be honest. I mean, this writes really quite well, and you save yourself a little bit of cash at the same time. So let's write out the quick brand thoughts. So yeah, no issues whatsoever. It keeps up pretty well. I have noticed at times it can feel very much dependent on the angle you hold it at, but I seem to have adjusted to that with little to no problem whatsoever. Now let's have a look to see if there's any play in this nib. So let's just do a few figure eights. Not too much. I mean, there's maybe a little, but yeah, I mean, you can see that it's sort of pulling quite nicely in the center there. Maybe a bit of line variation. Let's just go. I suppose there could be a little bit, but yeah, I mean, you're not going to be wanting to flex with this nib anyway, so that's, I would say, immaterial. Lovely, lovely nib, very predictable. Not really any skips whatsoever. Might just get it tuned at just an absolute fraction, but the other two nibs which I've had from Waldmann, the fine, the medium, have both written absolutely wonderfully. Okay, so let's give you some final thoughts on this pen, and then I will close off. Right, so what do I think of this pen? Now, of course, this isn't a review, but I will speak objectively and a little bit subjectively as I can. 450 euros is a lot of money, you know, especially for a pen. Why would you go for something like this when you could use a Bic, you could use a cheap little platinum preppy? To be honest with you, there is no reason why you would. You know, it's really down to a personal connection with how you actually enjoy writing. A £3 platinum preppy will write just as well as this. You know, you're not buying a fountain pen at this price point for the writing capabilities, even though it is very good. You wouldn't really be writing with a £450 pen if there wasn't a reason to why you wanted to do so in the first place. Why you're buying into this is for the finish. I mean, this finish is just absolutely superb, absolutely beautiful. And there are other pens out there which are equally beautiful. You know, there's pens from Parker which are fantastic. You've got pens from Leonardo at times which, you know, can be really nice. So, you know, you are paying quite a premium, and especially coming with a steel nib, but getting 95 sterling silver, which is quite a pricey metal to start with. And, you know, the prices of that is going up. So, you know, this could be seen as a bit of an investment as well, if that is the kind of person which you are. But yeah, you know, the fit and finish of this pen is absolutely superb. And I think this is something that if you are looking for like a one pen collection, yeah, definitely something to consider. Anyway, enough rambles. I will see you in the new year, and I hope you all have a very safe Christmas and a happy new year. Till then, stay safe and goodbye for now.